What if I told you that the secret to upgrading your golf cart is actually the same solution to provide backup power to your home, off-grid cabin, or RV? This is the Temgo 48 volt, 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate golf cart battery kit. And if you're thinking, oh, this is just for golf carts, just hold that thought a moment. While this was built to handle the high discharge demands of a golf cart, it's being marketed as a golf cart battery. It does have 5.12 kilowatt hours of energy storage and a massive 200 amp BMS, which makes this an absolute beast for your DIY solar needs. In this video, I'm going to test its performance, check the build quality inside, and talk a little bit about why it may be one of the best value lithium batteries you can get for your energy needs. So the battery arrived in this box, which is very well protected against any shipping damage. And here's what's inside. So we have the battery, of course, and then we have this little all-metal case LCD touch display with 3 pages of information. Now it's at 100%. It arrived about 50%, but it's at 100% because I just charged it getting ready for the capacity test. Came with an owner's manual and this 18 amp battery charger, which is really nice. 56.8, 18 amp smart charger, which really increases the value of this kit. It came with 2 sets of terminal studs, one a little bit longer than the other, in case you need to stack your connections. So mounting hardware and these 2 ratcheting straps to strap it down to a golf cart or whatever else you're going to strap it to. And so that's what came in the box. All right, let's take a little bit closer look at the battery. It does come in this ABS flame retardant ABS plastic case with an IP65 waterproof rating. It does have these large rope handles here on the end, which makes it easy to carry. It does weigh 87 pounds, which is just a little bit lighter than the server rack batteries. I'll put the measurements up on the screen for you to take a look at. It does have the color-coded terminals here at the end, and this is the little cap here that covers up the plug for plug in your LCD terminal, which I'll be taking a look at in just a second. I believe this battery comes with high and low temperature protection, which I'll be testing once I open it up. It does come with Bluetooth, so you can download the app and monitor the battery with the mobile app. You can combine 4 of these batteries in parallel for up to 20 kilowatt hours of energy storage. The battery did arrive at about 50% state of charge mark, or right where it should be. All right, let's take a little bit closer look at this LCD display that I just plugged in. On the first page here, there's 3 pages. It does show the state of charge is 100%. Like I said, I just charged it. I'm getting ready to do the capacity test. 0 amps of current, the voltage, temperature, time to empty. And standby, I guess it means it's not being used, charged or discharged. On page 2, you can turn the discharge on or off, same with the charge, how many cycles it's been through, the temperature, and status is normal. On the last page, you can take a look at all the different cells and the voltage of each. And it looks like it's doing some balancing right now, since it is at 100%. So that's the little display. Okay, so just started up a few minutes ago the battery capacity test. I'm drawing a little over 20 amps, just a little bit more than a 0.2C rate, but we'll come back and check and see how it did when it's complete. While the capacity test is running, I thought I'd show you a little bit about the mobile app. So when you first open it, it's a little bit confusing. You see the battery there. I didn't have to sign up for an account or anything, but you click it, you think you're going to open it, but really you're disconnecting. So if you click it again, it will connect to it and show you success down at the bottom. So that's a little bit confusing. To actually go into the battery, you have to click the dashboard in the bottom here. Once you click that, you can see here it's showing all the information, remaining capacity. You can turn discharging or charging off, time to empty, time to full if it was charging, some balancing information, some voltages and currents, number of cycles, temperature, and keep on scrolling. You see all the individual cells down below, which is nice to have. And then the about on the bottom right just shows you can change the language and the degrees in Celsius or Fahrenheit, how to get a hold of service, phone number, version number of this app. So it's a very basic app, but it does seem to work fine. I haven't had no problems with it at all. Okay, so we're nearing the completion of the battery capacity test, and the SunGold inverter decided to shut us off because it got too low voltage. But as you can see here, we have about 2% remaining. If you see here in the Victron Smart Jump app, we've used 97.1 amp hours to this point. So Let me try to finagle around here and see if I can get the last little bit out of this battery. Okay, I was able to modify some settings on the single power inverter to lower the threshold before it cuts off, and I've reduced the load a little bit. And we are now officially at 0% state of charge on the Temgo battery, but we are still drawing current, as you can see. And if you see here on the Victron Smart Shunt app, we have drawn so far 99.4 amp hours. I'm sure we're going to make it to 100, so I'll check back in just a minute. So, despite setting the low voltage cutoff as low as single power inverter would let me go, I couldn't draw the full amount out of the battery, so I pulled out another 48 volt inverter I had, which did allow me to continue. And as you can see here on the Smart Shunt app, that it drew 103.7 before the inverter turned off. The battery was still going. I'm sure if I was able to pull the little battery tester out and hook it up, I'm sure I could get 1 or 2 more out of there, but I don't see any reason in doing that. So the battery capacity test is a pass. Alright, I'm going to attempt to do a max load test, and this is very difficult because I only have 120 volt output inverters, and I'm going to have to use all 3 of them and get very creative. But this is a 200 amp BMS, and as you can see here, 315 amps for 30 seconds or 600 for 3 seconds. I can't even touch that. I'm going to get to just, I think around 200, a little over 200 amps is what I was just testing. And to make this work, I'm having to involve all kinds of heaters with this inverter. It's current status of the battery. These 2 oil heaters in the floor. This inverter, my daily use inverter, which is 6500, and this hot plate here. I'll be charging the EV. I'll be running this toaster oven in air fryer mode, and I'll be running this air fryer. All right, I've got the timer here, and in the upper right of the Temgo display there, you'll see how many amps it's pulling right now. I'm going to go turn everything on and bring it up to about 200 amps. All right, everything's on. As you can see, it is right now drawing just a little over 200 amps, 201, 202. So let me get the timer started. And hopefully we can run for 5 minutes without catching the thing on fire here. I have some fusing, but not all the proper fusing. This is just for a test. At this point, as you can see here, the amps had dropped off to 161. Then it would fluctuate between 100 and 200 amps after that. This has nothing to do with the battery. I was only able to draw a steady 200 amps for a minute and a half, given my test equipment. The reason the amps dropped off like that was because my air fryer or hot plate would reach their max temperature, then turn the burners off, and then back on again later. So given what I had to test with, I was not able to draw a steady 200 amps for 5 minutes like I intended. Again, this has nothing to do with the battery. It turns out to be quite hard to draw that much power continuous from a 48 volt battery when you only have 120 volt inverters. As you can see here in the Temgo mobile app, while I was running the test the first minute and a half, it was drawing over 10,000 watts of continuous power. That's a lot of power. If I had a large 240 volt split phase inverter, I could have used some of my large 240 volt appliances like my dryer or oven, or maybe even charging my EV with the level 2 charger. I could have finished that test successfully then. I have seen at least one other YouTuber successfully run that max load test of 200 amps for 10 minutes. Anyway, I apologize for not being able to do that test properly with my equipment. As I open up this battery, I wanted to mention that if you're finding this video useful, you can really help out my channel a lot by just liking this video, so YouTube will recommend it to other people. And if you haven't subscribed already, I would really appreciate that as well. Now let's get this battery open. Okay, just got the lid off. It's a little bit of a different, sealed a little bit different way. Normally, it has something like this kind of silicone caulk like this around the edge that seals these shut, but this had kind of a hard glue that was kind of cracking and breaking loose as I opened it. See if you can see up in there, you know. Most of it stayed up in the lid. Anyway, that's a little bit different. So here we go. We got prismatic cells here. Let's see what the BMS shows. If I find out anything about this BMS, I'll put it up on the screen. There's a QR code, and it does say it's 200 amp. Of course, that's in Chinese, can't read that. That number here, whatever that is. I'm assuming that's the Bluetooth module there. We have, I'll have to cut these out to open to see what they are. They feel around a 6-gauge wire. They do have some kind of red stuff there. I guess it keeps it from coming loose. The positive have a little safety caps on, which is good. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get this out without breaking this little LCD display port here. What else we got? There appears to be temperature sensors running down in there. I'm gonna have to pull this out to see. Okay, let me pull it out and see what we can look at next. Alright, so I got the battery pack out. It's pretty difficult. It's kind of glued in, not glued, but there's just sticky foam on the bottom that I can basically almost pick up this whole empty case with it. It's so sticky. And the LCD display little port there, I had to pull that wire completely out. I took a picture so I remember how everything plugged in and got done. I did test all the connections. Everything is very tight. There's nothing that's loose at all. And this ends up being 6-gauge wire. It might be a hard time zooming in here, but if you can see that 6, then these are 2 6-gauge wires combined for the negative and 2 for the positive. These are usually 200 degrees Celsius silicone wires, which is very high heat tolerance, so I'm not really sure if these are. I'm assuming they are, but I can't confirm that. And it looks like there's 2 temperature sensors, one that runs down to here and one that runs to here. I'll pull those out in just a minute. We'll do a cold and hot temperature test. And these balance leads here, where they come in, they're sitting very, very, very close to the edge of the case. These little foam pads here, it does cause a little, it causes a little gap there to stay that pushes them away from the edge, so that may be good enough, but they're a little bit closer than I'm used to seeing. And I can't think of anything else here to show you. Everything's tight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the cells to see what they are. I'll try. Let me try that, and then we'll do a temperature test. Okay, I was able to scan the barcodes. They're on the side here. I was thinking they're on the top, but they're actually right here on the side, and they come back as Cornex cells. I'm not familiar with those, so I think that's the first time I've seen those. If you have any comments on those, please put that down in the comments. And I did scan about 3 or 4 of them, and they all came back as September 29th, 2025, and this is April 2026, so they're basically brand new cells. So yeah, so let me do a cold and hot temperature test now. Okay, so let's start with the cold temperature charging protection. It's charging right now. I'm going to pull up the mobile app, be recording that, and show you that the temperature is now showing 18 degrees Fahrenheit, because I was just testing. But let me stick this down in this cold water, and let's watch this drop in temperature. We're currently charging over here. It's coming down to 36. So we can drop it further. When it goes under 32, and if we scroll to the top, charging is on. Oh, it just turned off. And as you can see, we're down to 30 degrees, and the charger did stop charging. So let me pull this out, warm it up with my fingers. We'll see it go up to 39, and charging turned back on. All right, and the charger should kick on here any second as well. And there it goes. All right, so cold temperature charging protection does work. All right, so I moved the water out of the way. Now we're going to do warm or hot temperature charge protection. Got the heat gun here. We'll watch the mobile screen. Watch the temperature start going up. And it's going up to the 80s, 90s, a little over 100, 13, 120, 133, 149, 164, 176, 190, and charging turned off. All right, so let's see what's the temperature now. We're at 216. Let me cool this down with my fingers this time. And yep, I think the charger just kicked back on. Yep, so the charger should start charging again here in just a second. And there we go. All right, so that hot temperature charging protection also works. So what are my final thoughts? Well, I could not really find much to complain about. the little cap that covers the port for the display, I lost it a few times. It would be nice if that had a little tether to keep it from connected to the battery so you wouldn't lose it. And regarding the two 6-gauge wires, high temperature gauge wires inside the battery for both the positive and negative, according to what I could find using a little AI help, it seems that 200 degrees Celsius 6-gauge high temperature wires is enough for 200 continuous amps. And I was able to confirm that those wires inside are actually 200 degrees Celsius high temperature silicone wires after I cut back the sheathing. The battery did work as advertised. It performed well and seemed to have a good build quality. That turned out to be a JDB BMS, which are good. I couldn't find much about those Cornex battery cells though, so if you know much about them, please comment below. For now, I can recommend this battery, but if anything changes over time, I'll be sure to let you know. But what really impresses me about this kit is the value. I looked at a few golf cart dealer websites and found comparable kits like this anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500. But this kit costs $7.99 on Temgo's website and on Amazon right now. You can buy just the battery alone for $6.99, but for just $100 more, you get this charger, which is $220 on their website, and the little display for $100. It's $100 on their website. Plus, they throw in the straps. So when you add all that up, you're getting around $330 of this equipment for only $100 more. That's a good value. So I'll put the links down in the description below if you're interested. If I have any discount codes, I'll include those as well. And well, I guess that wraps up this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, thanks for watching.